What you see on your screen at this time is a reminder that this advisor webcast is intended for informational purposes only. Any features or functionality described for Oracle products remains at the sole discretion of Oracle. Now, let's get started with our presentation. Gabriel, if you're ready, I'll turn the webcast over to you and you can begin.
Thank you, Pam. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this advisor webcast. The topic for today is creating and configuring landing pages in Siebel Marketing 8.1. The agenda is, as you can see, this is a general overview on how to create landing pages and surveys. The main goal is not for you to become an expert, but to learn the basics of landing pages and how to create landing pages, and especially how to use a landing page as part of a marketing campaign. We will start with an overview of landing pages. We will go through the process of creating a landing page, a survey that we will link to the landing page, how to deploy a landing page, and how to create an email campaign that will have a link to a landing page. We will go through the exercise of executing the campaign, filling out the survey, and finally, we will see how we can troubleshoot some of the problems that we may have during the landing page deployment. Okay, let's start by defining a landing page. Landing page is basically an HTML page or that a customer can navigate to as a response of a marketing campaign. Here you can, example scenario, you create a marketing campaign, you send some emails with a link to a page. We call it a landing page. The customers click on the link, they navigate to a landing page. Now, the landing page can have some marketing material like a brochure or some data sheets. But most of the time, what a landing page has is a survey. You want to get some additional information from customers, so you add a survey as part of the landing page. And that's precisely what we are going to do in this presentation. The customer receives the survey, fills out the survey, and submits the survey, and navigates to a thank you page. By default, this thank you page is just a blank page, but you can customize it. It's just a regular HTML page, and you can add things like flash demos or brochures or cross-links to other demos or a callback form or whatever your business needs require. Now, what is the advantage of having a landing page or a particular landing page in Siebel Marketing? The first thing is that users don't have to create everything from scratch. There are some task-based UIs that allow you to create and deploy web landing pages in a very, very easy way. You can reuse the landing pages that you create. You start by creating some templates, and those templates can be used for different marketing campaigns. The process of testing and deploying a landing page is very easy. You can generate a test URL to see what the landing page is going to look like once it goes into production. You do not have to recompile a new SRF. You can make changes on the fly and see the results immediately. The survey designer allows you to create answers that support text, checkboxes, drop-down lists, and radio buttons. questions that you define for the survey can be reused. You define the questions once, and then you can create different surveys with those questions. There are some web services. All of these, and we will see this later, the technology that is behind this is SOAP. That means that the Siebel server and the Java application that handles landing pages communicate using SOAP messages. Okay. When you navigate to a landing page, you see that the URL contains a host name, a port, and web surveys. Now, what is behind this? Behind this, there is a Java application, a very light Java application. It's called a Web Survey Daemon, or WSD. This WSD is installed as part of the Email Marketing Server Suite. For those of you familiar with Email Marketing Server, you know that there are other daemons like ESD, Email Sending Daemon, or CTD, Click-Through Daemon, DHT, Bounce Handler Daemon. And now this one, the WSD, is a new component that is part of the email marketing server, and it's the one that is going to handle the landing page. Here's an overview of the general architecture of the landing pages, or the WSD. On the left side, we have the Siebel side, which is comprised of the Marketing Object Manager and the EAI Object Manager. In the middle, you see the WSD, or the Web Survey Daemon, which runs inside Tomcat. As I said previously, this is a very light Java application. It has its own internal database, and it communicates using JDBC protocol. The communication between the WSD and the Siebel side is done through SOAP messages. The Siebel side sends some SOAP messages to publish and activate the surveys and the landing sites. And the WSD sends SOAP messages to the EAI Object Manager to import the responses received from customers. WSD can be installed and configured, can be installed from eDelivery. You can get the installation files from eDelivery. Here's an example. And you install this as part of the Email Marketing Server Suite. So when you install WSD, you will have also the executables and the installers for ESD, Email Server Daemon, the CTD, Click-Through, the PHD, Bounce Handler, and the WSD. For more information on how to install and configure WSD, you can go to the bookshelf. In particular, you need to get the details from the Siebel Marketing Installation and Administration Guide. Again, we're not going to cover the details on how to install and configure WSD on this presentation. That may be the goal of a different kind of presentation. Here's an example of the sections of a landing page. A landing page consists of different sections. Each section is physically an HTML document. So we have a header on top. We have a left panel, right panel, a footer, and in the middle we have the main content, which is the landing page itself. Creating a landing page is an easy process if you use the task UI. In our case, we're going to go through the process without using the task UI to show you in detail what needs to be done. But there are some predefined task UIs that make your life a lot easier and allow customers to create and configure and deploy the landing site just by following very easy steps. So there are some wizard-style UIs to design your landing page and some customizable style sheets, header, footer, and captions. This is the landing page that we are going to create in this presentation. We're not going to do it with much detail. We're not going to have a left panel or a right panel. We're just going to create a basic landing page content which has a header, a subheader, and some lines, and a very small survey in the middle. And we also have a page footer. This is important because we need to have a page footer with a submit button. When we fill out the survey, that survey needs to be submitted. So therefore, we need to have a footer with a submit button. Landing pages need a content library. The content library is basically a set of HTML documents that you can reuse. Those HTML documents can have left panels, right panels, page header panels, style sheets, or the landing page content itself. You create the document once, and you can reuse it as many times as you need. You can also have JavaScript embedded in those HTML documents. To change the look and feel of the pages, you can create different style sheets. And we will have a very simple example on how to use style sheets on our landing page. Let's start by creating the content. As you can see, this is a very simple HTML document which will be used as our landing page content. It only has one header, H1 header, H2, one line, and that's it. You save this as a regular HTML document, and we will use this later to create our landing page. This is what the content will look like. In this case, we haven't applied any style sheets yet. So you see a very, very plain HTML document. Same color for all the titles. Once you create the HTML content and you save the document, you can go to landing site, HTML content, and create a new record. You insert a new record and you set the type to landing page content. You select the file that you created previously. If you want to add some more colors, or you want to make your landing page a little bit more appealing to customers, you can add style sheets. In this case, just as an example, I created a file with extension CSS, and it consists of these just 4 lines. Basically, we're going to modify the header 1 is going to be green, the header 2 is going to be blue. And we save this as a CSS file. We navigate to landing sites, HTML content, click on New URL, and you specify a URL to the HTML file, the CSS file that you saved. You create a new record and you specify the literature type as a style sheet. The next section that we will create is the footer. As I said before, the most important part of the footer is the submit button. This is a very simple footer. It only has a couple of lines and the submit button. You save it as an HTML document. You save the file, and once you save the file will look like this. So very, very simple footer. It only has a couple of lines, the submit button, and you're ready to create the HTML content record. So you go again to landing sites, HTML content, create a new record, but this time you specify the literature type as page footer. To create the landing page, you create a new record on landing sites, insert a new record, and you use the file name with the content page that we created previously. Once you specify that file name, you will see on the bottom that the HTML editor is populated with the actual content of your HTML document. If you want to use the style sheet, then you need to go to the Site Details tab and specify the style sheet as well as the footer block. In this case, we already created style sheet record as well as a footer block, so we set these values. Now, at this point, we have created the landing page, but we haven't created a survey. In general, you add a survey to a landing page. You want to capture information from customers. So you start by creating a set of questions. And for each question, in some cases, you create a set of possible answers. So you navigate to landing site questions, and you create the questions that you're going to ask your customer. In this case, we have 4 different questions. You can reuse these questions. You can define the questions once and then create many surveys that will use the same questions over and over. So in this case, we have these 4 questions. Most of them, the answer type is a simple text, but for demonstration purposes, I created one question called demo position, which has a drop-down type of answer. So, in addition to creating the question, I create some answer options just for the demo position. So the demo position, the question is, what is your job position? And the 3 different answers that I created are VP, engineer, or manager. As you can see, this is a very, very simple example, but for the purpose of the demonstration, I think it's all what we need. You create a new survey. So navigate to landing sites, surveys, create a new record. Each survey can have one or more sections. In this case, I created just one section, and each section can have more than one question. So I added a new section and added the questions that we have created previously. And we're ready to add the survey to the landing page. But before I continue, let me go back for a second. And this is very important. Once you create the survey, you have to make a change. You have to change the status to available. Otherwise, you will not be able to associate that survey to a landing page. So that's an important step that I forgot to mention. Now we are ready to add the survey to the landing page. So for that, we go to Landing Site Details, Survey tab, and click on Pick Survey, and that will show a list of the different surveys that are activated. You select the survey, and you will see all of the survey sections once you select the survey. If you want the survey to appear on the landing page, you have to go to the Landing Page tab and click on Start Survey on Landing Page. Otherwise, the survey is not going to show up in the landing page. Now we're almost ready, but we still need to go through some steps. The landing sites can be previewed before you go into production. You can run some tests, and for that we have some buttons here. So the business user can deploy and revise the site directly, or they can generate a test URL. That test URL, you can just navigate to that URL and see exactly the landing page as the customers will see it. So let's start by reviewing the preview button. Initially, as you can see, the site status is inactive, and it will remain inactive until we activate it. So once you click on preview button, you will see the actual landing page, just a preview of the landing page. Now, what is interesting here is that since we are using a style sheet, then you will see that the header 1 and the header 2 are using the settings that we selected in the style sheet. Green for the header 1 and blue for the header 2. So this allows you to have an idea of what the landing page is going to look like, this preview button. You can also generate a test URL. Once you click Generate Test URL, you will see that the test URL text box is populated. You can copy that URL, you can put it in a browser, and you can navigate to the landing page. Now, at this point, even if you are able to see the landing page and fill out the survey, probably nothing is going to happen because you haven't activated the landing page. So probably you're going to get an error when you try to submit a survey from a landing page that has not been activated. You can see here that the site status is still inactive. To make it active, then you click Activate, and you will see that the site status is going to change from inactive to active, and the landing site URL is going to be populated. Now, that's the first part. We have created a landing page. We have created a survey that has been attached to the landing page. Now, how to use that landing page as part of the marketing campaign? Well, there are two different ways, two main ways in which you can use a landing page. One is to create just a regular web page and have a link to the landing page in that web page. The other one, and the most common, is create a marketing, an email campaign, and add a link to the landing page to the actual email that you're going to send. So we're not going to cover all of the details on how to create email campaigns, email treatments, email offers. That's not part of this presentation. Once you have an email campaign, you have created an email campaign, and I assume you already have an email treatment. You go to Email Treatment, Advanced, Trackable URLs, and you select a landing site. You will see a list of all of the available active landing sites. In this case, the one that we created is called Demo Landing. So we're going to select that one. And you will see that the URL is populated with the actual URL to the landing page. We assign a name, in this case, Demo Survey. We go back to edit the email text. Select trackable URLs. We select the trackable URL demo survey and click on Insert. Once we click on Insert, we see that the trackable URL has been inserted or attached to the email. We go through the steps of loading the campaign, launching the campaign, and assuming that everything is fine, the web launch has been completed, no errors. When a user receives the email, this is what the user or the email recipient is going to see. This is the actual email, and it has a link to the survey or the landing page. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So the customer clicks on Demo Survey, and we were expecting to see a landing page, but in this case, something happened. Something failed. We didn't go to an actual landing page. So what happened in this case? This is good because this is actually what happened to me the first time that I did it. And the reason for this problem is that landing pages rely on CTV. The actual URL is a trackable URL, which is handled by a different component of the email marketing server called the CTV, or the click-through daemon. In this case, the click-through daemon was not running. We can see here that it hasn't been started. So we need to start the click-through daemon to prevent this problem to happen. Once we run and we activate the click-through daemon, we see that the link works as expected, and the user goes to the actual landing page. So the user fills out the survey. It types some of the answers to the survey, clicks the submit button, and navigate to a thank you page. By default, the thank you page is it's a blank page, but you can customize it. Where is this thank you page? It's stored in the web service JSP survey folder, and it's called Thank You Orange JSP. Why orange? I don't know. I don't know why it has that funny name, but that's the page that you need to modify if you want to customize the thank you page, which is normally what the users do, our customers do. Now, when the customer submits the answers, some responses are created. We can see that an import process is created. In the version 8.1.1, the import process is a general process to import all kinds of objects like contacts, accounts, and in this case, it's going to import a response from the customer, and that response has all of the answers to the questions of the survey. So to verify that the process is working, you can navigate to administration marketing, import, and you should see that a new import job has been created to import a response and with the name of your the web survey job and the date and the time. Now, what else happens when you submit or one of your customers submits survey? When you go to landing sites, view responses, you should see the responses that are created from the customers. In this case, if you remember, we have a simple survey with 4 questions. So we see that a response has been created with all of the answers. You can also navigate directly to responses, survey answers, and you see the response that has been created. So that's a different way to verify that a response has been received from a customer. Now, how to troubleshoot? Well, we're not going through the process on how to troubleshoot, but we will give you an idea of what to look for or where to look for problems. This is the general architecture, and you can see that there are 3 main components here. The yellow one is the Siebel side. The blue one is the actual WSD or web survey daemon side. And something in the middle is the communication that takes place between those 2 components. As I explained before, the communication takes place by using SOAP protocol. So there are some SOAP messages that go back and forth between the Siebel server and the WSD. Some information is stored in the actual Marketing Object Manager logs. So if you have configured the Marketing Object Manager to see full details from the log files, you can see all of the communication that takes place between the Siebel Object Manager and the web survey daemon. All of this communication uses HTTP protocol. In particular, it uses the EAI transport business service. So you can see if there are problems between the Siebel server and WSD, you can see on this file what exactly is going on. The input process, when a customer responds and fills out the survey and clicks the submit button, there's a job that is created to import that response. That import job is handled by EAI. So therefore, the EAI Object Manager log file has a lot of information on what's going on regarding the creation of these responses. So if you see that the customers are getting the surveys and they submit the surveys, but for some reason the responses are not created, most likely the problem is going to be found on the EAI side. So this log file can be very useful in that case. Now, the communication is done through SOAP, and SOAP uses XML envelopes or XML messages. Those XML files that you see here are stored in the Siebel Server Log folder, and they have an extension DMP. And they have the exact XML SOAP message that is sent by the Siebel Object Manager or sent by the web survey daemon. So that's also a very good source of information to troubleshoot issues. And finally, the WSD log files. There are two main folders where these logs are stored. One is the installation folder for WSD, in this case, program files WSD, and it has a subfolder called logs, and this has some general errors if you have problems with the actual Tomcat installation or execution, or in general problems with Tomcat. This is the place to look for errors. Now, if you are having problems with the actual web survey daemon, then you should find a couple of log files in the WSD Web Apps Web Surveys folder. In particular, there are two files that are very important. One is the response processor log file, which has information associated with something called the response processor component, which is the one that is responsible for the packaging of responses and putting the responses into XML and calling the input web service on the Siebel side. That's the response processor log. And the web service log, which has information associated with the actual survey definitions, the rendering of the web pages, and the processing of submitted forms. More information regarding landing pages can be found on my Oracle support. There is a video. It's a very short video, but it will give you a general overview on how to create landing pages. And the document ID is 1305026.1. And you can also go to the bookshelf, in particular the Siebel Marketing Installation and Administration Guide, which has information on how to install WSD, how to configure WSD, and how to troubleshoot some of the main issues that you may have. And that concludes the presentation for today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel. We hope everyone found the presentation valuable today. We'll open our Q&A in just a moment, so please use the chat feature or the phone lines at this time to let us know you have a question. Keila, could I ask you to give instructions once again for those on the phone line?
Yes, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for a moment to compile the Q&A roster.
And while we're pausing to compile that roster, I want to remind everyone of a few things. The first is, in the next 48 hours, I will be sending out a PDF along with the download and streaming link to all those who have enrolled. So this is a tip that if you go out to our current schedule and see a webcast of interest, but you have a calendar conflict, go ahead and register for it anyway, and then you'll be pushed the PDF and download and streaming link within 48 hours after the presentation. The next thing is I will also be posting the download and streaming link out on My Oracle Support under My Oracle Support Training Central. If you're more comfortable with using doc numbers, that will be posted on My Oracle Support doc number 740964.1. Again, 740964.1. And the third thing I want to make everyone aware of is if you think of a question after we end today, just go ahead and respond to that email from me with the download and streaming links and PDF, and I will forward it on to Gabriel to answer on a one-off basis. So with all those things said, Kalina, do you have any questions from your audience?
There are no questions.
Okay. Gabriel, we do have some on the chat feature, so I'll read those aloud, and you can respond to them. The first one is, can I have a multilingual landing page, or do I need a different page for each language? Gabriel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you hear that?
Multilingual landing page. I believe that is not possible. You may have to have different pages, one for each language. That's the same case as with an email campaign, that you may have to have an email for different languages. But I would confirm that. That's my understanding. I might be wrong, but I think you need to have different pages for each language.
Okay, and what I'll do is I'll copy out these questions off the chat, Gabriel, and I'll send them to you along with the customer's email address so that you can get back to them on a one-off basis.
Sure.
Okay? Okay, the next question is, are the responses of the web survey integrated out of the box with OBIEE, or can I create segments and reports based on them?
They are not out of the box integrated with OBIEE. Now, the responses are created on the Siebel side, but you can, on the OBI side, you can create your own start schemas, and you can modify your repository so that the source for your repository are the actual responses. So you can that is something that can be customized. Yes, you can use those responses to create dashboards you can query those in answers in OBI, but it requires some customization.
Okay. What is the plan with this product, given that ATG has overlapping features with surveys and campaigns?
That's a good question. At this point, I don't have the answer, but that's something that we can check with product marketing.
Okay. So should the customer contact marketing?
No, I can do it, and we can respond. We can send an email to the customer or with the answer.
Okay. Here's a question that wants you to go back to slide 20. So on that floating toolbar, you'll see a little field that has numbers in it. If you hit the drop down and go to slide 20, I'll tell you the question. I believe the one with the footer from HTML code. So I don't know if maybe you can explain the slide once again.
Okay, this is the footer, which is part of the landing page, and in this case, the only special thing that needs to have is a submit button. The rest is just regular HTML tags. You can have any HTML tags here, but the only thing that needs to be added is the submit button.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers the question.
It really wasn't a question. I think they just wanted to have you show this slide again and then maybe do, just as you did, talk to it again.
Yeah, it's just a regular document. In this case, it uses a table, but that's not required.
Okay. Kalia, any questions from your audience?
There are no questions.
Okay, we have one more here. Are there customers currently using the landing page functionality of web marketing in ASAP?
Yes. Yeah, and some of the customers are using this very, very heavily. And I can say this because as part of my previous job in technical support, I had to handle issues in particular from one customer that was using this in the production environment, and they were using this as part of very big campaigns, million customer campaigns. So yes.
Okay. Okay. I at this point I have no other questions on the chat feature, but like I said, I always try to give sufficient time to find the features that we talked about, type in your questions. I know a lot of time you'll be in a conference room with your associates and need to figure out what question is the most appropriate to ask. So I'm giving you that time now to regroup and see if you need to ask another question. So Kalia, one last time, any questions from your group?
There are no questions.
Okay. Back to, are the responses tied up with the campaign? On the surveys, I'm sure they're talking about the surveys. Are the responses tied up with the campaign automatically?
Yes. Yeah. Part of the response is the treatment ID. So yes, the responses have campaign information.
Okay. Okay. So as I said, if you think of a question after we end today, just go ahead and respond to that email from me with the PDF of this presentation and the download and streaming link, and I'll forward it on to Gabriel to answer on a one-off basis. So with that said, I want to thank Gabriel and thank everyone for joining today's Oracle Advisor webcast. We hope you found this webcast valuable, and we look forward to you joining us again. Please enjoy the remainder of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This concludes the conference. You may now disconnect.